What's up, guys? Back here working on the K1 Attack. First thing for today is I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mess with these adjustable like bushings for the control arms, the uppers and the rear here, because obviously I had that crazy camber last time. So I'm hoping this will fit in there. It'll actually do some good. They're kind of cheap, so I don't know how long they'll last overall, but if it solves the problem for right now, that's a win. So we're gonna take these off, see if they'll even fit. Who knows? It might. Alright guys, so first problem with these is there's an interference problem. And I can show you, pulling this thing out. Basically, the problem is that where I marked it green, like that part's gonna hit the control arm, and like I can adjust it back further so it doesn't hit, but then it hits these uprights, like it hits like in here. So I think the only way to get around that is I'm gonna have to grind this out down far enough that it doesn't contact on these control arms, and then hopefully it'll fit. Okay, see here, I only was able to use one of those adjusters because this one is hitting this so hard, like you can't even bolt it in there like without the control arm, like just that piece. So I got this one in there and I ran it back pretty far. It's not as far as it can go back because it's changing caster technically, because it's, you know, a front suspension. But it's better. It's definitely better, but you can see it brought the wheel further back towards the rear, which isn't ideal, but it did take about 2 degrees out. It's still positive. It's about 1.25 degrees positive back here. However, if you go to this side, this one's 3.25 positive. You can see way out there. And this one is still with the stock bushings. I haven't changed this side. So I think I'm gonna do the same thing to this side, put that one in there, at least get it to a 1.25 degrees, but then I think once I get different springs to lower this thing down a little bit more, I'm betting once I lower that down, it's gonna bring that right into where it needs to be, because there's a huge gap right here. We need to come down, obviously, and I can't right now with this spring setup. So I think that's gonna be what I'm gonna have to do. So let's at least modify that one. Well, for some reason, this one didn't come in nearly as much as the other side. It took about 1 degree, maybe a skosh more out of it, but it's still like 2.25 degrees over here, positive. Whereas this side is only like 1.25 degrees, so I don't know why that's the case. I guess I could try playing with toe and see if that'll bring it in a little bit, but I think, I don't know. It's not too far off. And I think, honestly, what it almost needs to do is bring the toe in a little bit, which is probably going to make it worse. So I don't know. Hopefully it corrects itself by lowering it. I mean, at least I got some of the camber out of there, so it's some progress. All right, so next order of business, I'm going to try and start messing around with the fuel system. I got this aeromotive regulator. I finally got the right fittings. I didn't have the right ones for here and whatnot. And I had to order one for here, but now I have all the Dash 6 stuff that I need. So I'm trying to figure out where to mount this regulator. And at the moment, the best place I can find is like back in here on this, basically the bracket for the motor mount that's welded to the frame. I think it'll work out pretty good because I can still adjust it from here. It is gonna be tricky to see the gauge, so maybe I don't know, do something with that. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. Once it's set, it's set. But I think it'll make the fuel line routing pretty good because I'll have the one coming out that I'll go straight to the rail, and then I can have the other ones kind of run down along the frame and then kind of go down the center because the fuel cell's up there, so I'll run it down the tunnel over to the tank. And I think that'll work out pretty good. It's just gonna be, this is definitely gonna be a pain in the ass to drill and put some nut certs in there, that's for sure. All right, I got that one mounted up. I did only one bolt at the moment because the bracket is like been cut because it was modified for something else. It was a used deal I got from a buddy. But it's gonna, it's gonna hold for the moment. And it's nice because you can actually, I can get in here and I can reach that. Unfortunately, this is gonna be all covered off, covered up once the car is done. So I won't be able to reach in here anymore to do anything. But I think I might still be able to get in there with a mirror and still be able to check it, because I'm not gonna have to check it very often. I think now I'm gonna start working on figuring out where all the lines go. All right, so I got that line on there. I want to keep going, but I don't have the right fittings or enough line. I don't have enough line to make it all the way to the tank, so I think I'm going to stop on that. I was going to put the tank in, then I realized that I don't have the bolts for holding the sending unit down and all that stuff. So I do have an adapter for the steering wheel, so I'm going to put that on. I've also got a quick release and a wheel, which they're not going to be permanent. This is just a temporary solution so that I actually have a steering wheel. This will stay in there. The other stuff, they're not the right color, but this will work. So we're gonna throw it in. All right, here's the steering wheel. And once again, that's not staying in there. That's this is just a mock-up, just to see kind of where we're at. But it's something. Now I at least have some sort of steering wheel to work with. Okay, so now that I'm in the car, I can kind of see, you know, what kind of room I got to work with here, with the seat in there and all that stuff. I can definitely see this is a little closer than I would like it to be, but it's not awful. This does have a little bit of a dish to it. So I think if I get one that's perfectly straight, I think we'll be pretty good. I mean, honestly, the diameter of this wheel isn't too bad. I mean, it's probably fine. I can see, you know, I can see over the wheel to the windshield. It's about the right height. It's just a little bit too close to me. So I think that's the biggest thing. If I get a flat one, like no dish at all, that'd be good. But overall, not bad. Not bad. Okay, so I do have a little bit more I can do with the fuel system. I was able to get the correct bolts for the flanges on the fuel tank. So I got my fuel sending unit here, which I think I showed you guys before. I basically just need to bolt that down, no big deal. For the fuel pump, I've got the fuel hanger assembly. This is from like Classic Industries. It's like a universal deal, and it came with a 340 liter per hour fuel pump. So just need to throw these things in there, and then yeah, we should be able to put the tank in there. However, I will say I do need to, in order to put the tank in there like for good, I need to pull the glass back out, and I need to pull the dash back out, and because I need to pull the firewall back out because I want to put some insulation in there. You know, paint it up a little bit, insulation, all that stuff before I do like final install. So for the moment, I might just put these in here, just make sure everything fits, and then yeah, maybe call it a day. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, just about ready to put this thing in. I got this kind of assembled. You can see kind of how I put it together. There's actually, this hose is bigger than this, so they ended up having you cut some of this off, put it on here, heat shrink it, whatever. Worked out pretty good. The only thing that's kind of annoying is that these lines were kind of bent at an angle in the box for so long that they didn't really want to straighten out, but it's mostly straight. I think I'm just about ready to put it in there after I cut the zip tie. And actually, it was really nice. I thought that they didn't send me any bolts, so I bought some, realized I was one short, and then I was like, fuck. Then I'm putting it together, and I'm like, oh, they sent me bolts. How nice of them. Okay, so off camera, I got all this torn back apart, windshields out, dash out, all that stuff. So I got the firewall pieces out. I got both of those out. So now I sprayed them. I just did a bed liner. I might go over this one again because it's kind of choppy, but I just wanted something so it wasn't like that weird like tan color, so it doesn't like stand out. You won't really notice this anyway. It's gonna be kind of buried behind all the other stuff, but got both of these just kind of drying. Once I get them dry, I'll be able to throw those back in, hopefully permanently. Okay, so I got this one painted up. It's back in there, just kind of chilling at the moment. I didn't paint this side because honestly, you're never gonna see this because it's gonna be completely covered up, so it really doesn't matter. So I think the next thing I need to figure out is I need to start figuring out the fuel filler, which I've got the parts for this finally. They took forever to send me this and this piece and whatnot, but I have them now. So I think I have the parts that I need to put the filler neck on, which is good. So I need to figure out how it actually fits, which it's got this panel here, which I'm kind of mocking it up. I think it goes somewhere like this, sort of, because that big metal ring goes into that slot there. So you got this piece, something like that, and then the fuel cap goes on top of it. So I gotta kind of figure out that scenario. Then I gotta figure out where the hose goes through. I'm assuming here, but maybe I gotta cut a hole. I don't know. I think I won't know until I get the fuel cell in. So I might have to put the fuel cell in just to figure out the hose routing. Yeah, let's see what we can figure out. Okay, I kind of got this sort of mocked up. I'm trying to figure out how to figure out this fuel neck. Obviously, I got the fuel cell in there. Kind of got the hoses just kind of chilling. There isn't really a great way to do this. Because there's like kind of an angle here, and there's like a step. So the only thing I could think is maybe if I cut this down a little bit, make a hole down in here, and then just kind of bend this guy down a little bit, because it's kind of at the moment, it's hard to tell, but it's like angled up. You can kind of see it here. Yeah, it's not ideal the way it's placed right now. So yeah, that's the only thing I can think now is maybe just, yeah, put a hole below the step point, I guess. I don't know. Well, you know how they tell you to measure twice, cut once. Yeah, apparently I missed that memo. I don't know. It's not right. Like this side's pretty good. Lines up pretty good. This side, I cut this thing down about as far as I can. It's still not quite there. So I guess I'm gonna have to cut it a little bit further up. I can go a little bit further before I hit that ledge. I don't know. We'll see what I can get accomplished here. I may have to cut this down to bring this hose up possibly to get a better angle at it. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna do some more cutting. Okay, I think I got it. I had to take quite a bit out of that hole. You can kind of see. So there's a pretty big space. I might have to put in, you know, fill it in with some sort of grommet or something. Kind of fill that hole in. But other than that, it's at least gonna work. This kind of sits at a kind of a goofy angle, and it sits kind of angled back. So it actually makes it go up. So I kind of got this feeling that even with the vent hole, I think this thing's gonna fill kind of slow with fuel, which I guess it's annoying, but I guess it's not the worst thing in the world. But I think it's gonna work anyway. At least it reaches, and I got that part figured out. So yeah, I can at least, I think at this point I'm gonna pull this stuff back out, pull this firewall piece back out, and yeah, I think I'm ready to just put it in there permanently, and I can worry about doing grommets and stuff later. So the firewall is now permanently installed. I sealed it up along the edges. I actually put a little bit edge trim in different spots. Like I got some here and there, a little bit here, mostly just to fill in a little bit of gap, hopefully. There isn't too much I can do about it, but at least it'll help a little bit. I found some edge trim for here, and then obviously what you guys can see is I did start adding insulation. I got this real thick stuff. It's like this, I don't know, it's probably like 1/2 inch foam with like this metallic and adhesive backed. This stuff is awesome. It's so nice. It's so easy to lay down, and it works really well. I used it on the transmission tunnel on the Exoset. Made a huge difference. So I'm gonna keep going with this and build it all the way up the firewall. For right now, it might be fine enough. I think I'm gonna put the fuel cell in, get that bolted in, and then kind of, you know, run my fuel hoses and stuff. So I at least got that all done and move on. All bolted in on the fuel cell. Got the fuel filler neck hose, just kind of temporarily ran. Just kind of set this thing down, set this thing on here so I could kind of see approximately where it was going to be. This was sitting over a little bit too far. It was rubbing. It was a good thing I checked because it needs to be over that way a little bit better. But now I know, so I can keep moving on, and probably might put the hose clamps in there and then maybe cut that out a little bit so I can kind of see approximately where I need to bolt this section down before I put my Sparco fuel cap on. Okay, I put this one back in, just kind of temporary. This side was the main concern, getting that one done, since I already had the undercoating out and I was already doing that stuff. That one's done. I didn't really need to paint this. It didn't really matter. It's going to be covered up with, you know, some carpet, but it's going to be a little while, so I figured, yeah, screw it. Put some paint on there, but I probably should have sanded it because it's definitely like kind of scratching very easily, but oh well. I did get some fittings for here, so I actually have the fittings for the fuel pump. Now I'm still just waiting on all my lines and filter and stuff, so I don't have those right now, but at least I got those fittings, so that's nice. So I got the hole drilled. I got all these holes drilled out. This is just kind of lightly in there. It's basically these bolts go all the way through, and there's nuts on the bottom side, and they go through the actual metal ring that goes through here. And that kind of centers it. There's like that rubber gasket that kind of goes in there. That seems to work. The hose routing, like I said, it's not ideal, but it'll work. I was having a hell of a time trying to figure out where I was going to put this, because it was kind of, you know, you can see it was kind of up in here, but I think at this point, I think it's gonna work. It's just gonna have to be a little bit lower, so I might lower that one down too, just to make them even. I did start drilling some holes down here. I marked the frame so I can drill and nutsert those. This side doesn't really line up the best, and it's because there's that tab, that big bracket tab thing, it's hitting that. On this side, it's actually like raised up right here. You can kind of see it's like raised up, and it's up further than it is on that side. So this side actually clears it no problem, but that one's touching. So like if it's kind of pushed down, kind of like this, kind of tweaked this way and bolted down, it's fine, but it's still touching it. So I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. Maybe I'll end up cutting a hole. Maybe I'll just leave it. I don't think it's really gonna be a problem once it's bolted down, but I don't know. Time will tell. Okay, so I got those holes drilled out, got the nutserts in there. I've only got one screw hole in right now because I don't have enough screws, but you kind of see how it looks in there with the gas cap right there. Turned out pretty good. I think that's gonna be nice having it right there. Hell yeah. All right, guys, I think that's gonna be it on this one, mostly because I'm running long. I've got a lot of content and I gotta break this up a little bit. I'm gonna keep working on this, but you won't see that till the next video. But for the moment, I mean, really, you know, I'm getting a few things done, you know? It's just very slow progress, but I think I've at least kind of got this fuel filler neck situation figured out, I think. Hopefully it doesn't need too much more. I am kind of worried about that, you know, the fact that the first half is a little bit lower than the second half, so I think it's going to kind of glug into the fuel cell kind of slow, but I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it's not a problem. But until next time, make sure you like, subscribe, do all the things. Peace out.